Three explosions. Deep underwater. South China Sea. November 2024. The USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group, 11,000 tons of American naval power, cuts through contested waters. 90 aircraft, 6 warships, 5,000 sailors. Below the surface, something is tracking them. A Chinese submarine, type 093 Shang-class, nuclear-powered, armed with wake-homing torpedoes designed specifically to kill aircraft carriers. For 72 hours, two of the world's most powerful navies play a deadly game of hide-and-seek beneath the waves. Then, at 03:47 hours, sonar operators aboard the USS Howard, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, detect an anomaly. The submarine has closed to within 12 nautical miles. Weapons range. The destroyer's captain has seconds to decide. Rules of engagement are clear but unforgiving. Wait too long, and the carrier dies. Act too soon, and you start a war. He gives the order. 3 Mark 54 torpedoes hit the water. This is the story of what happened next and why the world came closer to war than anyone wants to admit. To understand this incident, you need to understand the South China Sea. 9 countries claim territory here. China claims almost all of it, a sweeping assertion marked by the 9-dash line, a boundary that international law has repeatedly rejected, but China refuses to abandon. Why does it matter? 30% of global maritime trade flows through these waters. Oil from the Middle East to Asia. Electronics from Taiwan and South Korea to the world. Natural gas. Rare earth minerals. Fishing grounds that feed hundreds of millions. Control the South China Sea, and you control the economic lifeline of Asia. For decades, the United States Navy has sailed these waters freely, asserting the principle of freedom of navigation, the idea that international waters belong to no nation. These operations, called FONOPs, are deliberate. They're designed to challenge Chinese territorial claims by simply sailing through them.
China sees this differently. To Beijing, these are provocations, American warships operating in what China considers its sovereign waters, threatening national security. The tension has been building for years. Artificial islands bristling with missiles, fighter jet intercepts, naval standoffs. But most of the confrontation happens beneath the surface, where submarines hunt and hide in a silent war that rarely makes headlines. Until something goes wrong. The Carrier Strike Group. November 2024. The USS Carl Vinson, a Nimitz-class supercarrier, leads a strike group through the South China Sea. This isn't a routine transit, it's a message. Accompanying the Vinson, the guided missile cruiser USS Lake Champlain, 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, including the USS Howard, a nuclear attack submarine running silent below, and 2 supply ships. On the carrier's deck, F/18 Super Hornets and E-2 Hawkeye early warning aircraft maintain continuous combat air patrols. Below decks, intelligence officers monitor Chinese communications, satellite feeds, and radar tracks. Everyone knows they're being watched. Chinese surveillance aircraft shadow the strike group from a distance. Overhead, Beijing satellites track every movement. And somewhere beneath the waves, Chinese submarines are listening. The hunter beneath. 400 feet below the surface, a Chinese Type 093 Shang-class attack submarine maintains station 20 nautical miles from the carrier. The Type 093 represents China's most advanced operational submarine, nuclear-powered, equipped with U-6 torpedoes and YJ-18 anti-ship cruise missiles. Unlike older Chinese subs, the 093 is relatively quiet, making detection difficult. Its mission? Track the American carrier, gather intelligence on its defensive patterns, practice targeting solutions, and if war breaks out, sink it. For submarine crews, this is the ultimate test. Stay close enough to maintain contact, stay quiet enough to avoid detection, and never, ever break radio silence unless absolutely necessary. The submarine's captain knows his vessel is outmatched if detected. American anti-submarine warfare capabilities are decades ahead of China's. His only advantage is stealth. He orders his boat to trail the strike group at maximum safe distance, using passive sonar only. No active pings, no transmissions. Ghost mode. The detection. On board the USS Howard, a sonar technician stares at his screen. For hours, he's been filtering through the ambient noise of the ocean, shrimp clicking, whale songs, distant shipping traffic. Then he sees it, a transient contact, faint, intermittent, but unmistakable to a trained ear. He alerts his supervisor. Within minutes, the entire anti-submarine warfare team is analyzing the data. They cross-reference with data from the carrier's SH-60 Seahawk helicopters, which have been dropping sonobuoys in a grid pattern. The picture becomes clear. A submarine, nuclear-powered based on the acoustic signature. Range, 18 nautical miles and closing. The Howard's captain faces an immediate decision tree. Is this submarine in international waters? Yes. Is it behaving aggressively? Debatable. It's tracking the strike group, but hasn't maneuvered into an attack position. But here's the problem. Submarines can launch torpedoes from 12 nautical miles, and modern wake-homing torpedoes don't miss. If that submarine gets inside weapons range, the carrier is vulnerable. The captain requests permission to prosecute the contact. The strike group commander aboard the Vinson reviews the rules of engagement. Under international law, tracking another vessel isn't an act of aggression, but allowing a potential threat inside weapons range violates basic defensive doctrine. The commander authorizes prosecution, but with restrictions. Warning shots only. Establish positive identification. Force the submarine to surface or break contact, but don't start a war. The explosions. At 03:47 hours, the USS Howard deploys 3 Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes. These aren't kill shots. They're set to run active sonar search patterns and detonate at safe distances, loud enough to be unmistakable, close enough to convey a message. Below the surface, the Chinese submarine sonar operators hear the splashes. Then the high-frequency active sonar pings. Their blood runs cold. They've been detected. The captain has seconds to react. Protocol demands he evade immediately, go deep, change course, employ countermeasures. But surfacing in the presence of an American carrier strike group means humiliation. It means admitting his submarine was caught. It means strategic failure. He orders evasive maneuvers, full speed, dive to 600 feet, deploy noisemakers and bubble generators to confuse the incoming torpedoes. The first explosion detonates 300 yards off the starboard beam. The shock wave hammers the submarine's hull. Lights flicker. Crew members grab overhead pipes for support. The second explosion, closer, 200 yards. The hull groans under the pressure wave. The third explosion is directly above them, 100 yards, close enough that sailors aboard the destroyer feel the concussion through the water. In the submarine, chaos. Minor flooding in the aft compartment. The propulsion plant automatically throttles back to prevent cavitation noise. The captain knows he has one option left. He surfaces. 4 nautical miles from the USS Carl Vinson, the Chinese submarine breaks the surface. On the carrier's bridge, officers watch through binoculars as the black hull emerges, water cascading off its sail. The submarine's conning tower hatch opens. Chinese sailors appear on deck, hands visible, making no aggressive moves. It's an implicit surrender, a recognition that continuing to hide is pointless. Overhead, F/18 fighters circle at low altitude, not threatening, but unmistakably present. Seahawk helicopters hover at a distance, dipping sonar to ensure no other submarines are nearby. For 30 minutes, the two forces maintain this standoff. The submarine doesn't submerge. The carrier doesn't advance. Both sides are on open communication channels with their respective headquarters. Then, slowly, the submarine begins moving away. Not fleeing, that would be too obvious, but disengaging, making clear it's no longer prosecuting the carrier. The Americans don't pursue. They've made their point. The submarine submerges again, disappearing into the depths. But this time, it heads northwest, back toward Chinese waters. Neither China nor the United States officially acknowledged this incident. No press releases, no diplomatic protests, no formal complaints through military-to-military channels.
Why? Because both sides had something to hide. For China, admitting that one of their most advanced submarines was detected and forced to surface would be a propaganda disaster. It would reveal critical weaknesses in their submarine force, weaknesses that Western intelligence agencies already suspect, but China prefers to keep ambiguous. For the United States, publicizing the incident would force a diplomatic response, questions in Congress, demands for explanations, potential escalation in tensions at a time when both countries are trying to manage competition without conflict. So the incident remained classified. Only those directly involved knew the full story. But the strategic implications rippled outward. After this incident, U.S. carrier strike groups adjusted their operational patterns in the South China Sea. Anti-submarine warfare became more aggressive. Helicopters dropped more sonobuoys. Attack submarines operating with the strike groups took more forward positions. The message was clear: we're hunting. China responded by pulling back its submarine patrols, not abandoning them, but operating more cautiously. The risk of another humiliating detection wasn't worth the intelligence gained. But Beijing also accelerated programs to improve submarine stealth, new coatings to reduce acoustic signatures, better sound isolation for machinery, advanced quieting technologies acquired, legally and otherwise, from Russian and European defense contractors. The submarine arms race, always simmering, entered a new phase. This incident reveals a fundamental problem with great power competition in the 21st century: the absence of clear rules for engagement. During the Cold War, the U.S. and Soviet Union developed unwritten protocols for submarine encounters. Both sides understood the boundaries. How close was too close? What actions constituted provocation? How to de-escalate without losing face? In the South China Sea, those rules don't exist. China and the United States are writing them in real time through incidents like this. Each confrontation establishes a precedent. Each response sets expectations for the next encounter. But precedents established through near misses and explosions are dangerous foundations for international stability. The question isn't whether another incident will occur. It's whether next time cooler heads will prevail, or whether miscalculation, miscommunication, or simple bad luck will turn a warning shot into something catastrophic. 3 explosions beneath the South China Sea. To the sailors aboard the USS Howard, they were warning shots, carefully calculated applications of force designed to deter, not destroy. To the crew of that Chinese submarine, they were existential threats,
reminders that in modern naval warfare, detection equals death. To the rest of the world, they were nothing, unacknowledged, unreported, as if they never happened. But they did happen, and incidents like this happen more often than the public realizes. The South China Sea isn't just contested territory. It's a testing ground, a place where two superpowers probe each other's capabilities, resolve, and red lines. Every submarine patrol is a calculated risk. Every carrier transit is a statement of intent. Every sonar contact is a moment where human judgment stands between peace and catastrophe. The sailors involved in this incident returned to port. The submarine crew rotated back to base. Both sides filed classified reports, analyzing what went right and what went wrong. And then they prepared to do it again. Because the strategic competition for control of the South China Sea isn't going away. If anything, it's intensifying. China is building more submarines. The U.S. is increasing naval patrols. Both sides are developing new weapons, new tactics, new doctrines for operating in close proximity without triggering war. But technology and doctrine only go so far. In the end, it comes down to people. Captains making split-second decisions, sonar operators trusting their instincts, flag officers balancing strategic objectives against the lives of their crews. One day, someone will make a different decision. The submarine won't surface. The warning shots will be kill shots. The incident won't stay classified. And the world will wake up to discover that the war everyone feared had already begun. Not with a declaration, not with a political crisis, but with 3 explosions beneath the waves. The South China Sea waits. The submarines are still hunting. And the question isn't if there will be another incident. It's when.